Hello, my friends. This is Lynda Lippin, and welcome to the Pilates Goddess podcast. Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back once again to the Pilates Goddess podcast. This is your host, Lynda Lippin, and thank you one more time for showing up to listen to the podcast. I am taking a 1-week break, just 1 week from the Pilates mat. So I will resume that next week, not next episode, next week, because I've had a few interactions with new clients in the Pilates studio, coming to classes, things that they're talking to me about, not even necessarily regarding Pilates, but things that they're kind of seeing out in the world that they had questions about. And I realized that if I've got clients who are new to me coming in with tons of questions, that many of my listeners probably have similar questions. So you may know from listening to the podcast, following me online, some of you know me, that I generally stick pretty close to classical Pilates, right? I'm one of those, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it people. And the method works. Now, do I teach strictly according to classical guidelines in terms of, how classical was defined after the Pilates trademark lawsuit? Not necessarily. I prefer to teach on classical equipment, i.e. Gratz or Pilates designs. I generally follow the order of the exercises and always have. I'm a huge fan of using other devices in Pilates. Yes, using Pilates props like the magic circle, light hand weights, small barrels, things like that. But also bringing in, I taught a magic circle and foam roller class online today. I also teach a strong bones class using bands, tubing with handles, Tie 4 device. I teach weight classes online along with Pilates. So, there are ways of bringing these things together that still are recognizably Pilates. But I also just want to remind you, and my husband listens to me record these sometimes. Now he's at work, so not. And he's like, you keep repeating the same things a lot of the time. But basically, my friends, these are things that need repeating because they keep coming up in questions. And one of the main concerns that I'm hearing from folks is that they are either feeling rushed through their workouts or they're feeling ignored in their workouts. Like they come in and they say, I've got neck tension and headaches, or I've got, a lower back thing, or my hips are a little wonky and sometimes I get pain here. And the teacher is like, oh, okay. And then just never deals with it, addresses it, or corrects anything in class, right? Or in their session. And a lot of folks are realizing that they are not hearing all the time the names of exercises, that when they are hearing the names of exercises, the exercises that the names are attached to aren't always consistent, studio to studio. Sometimes internally, teachers and studios are making up their own names for different variations on exercises, which is great. I'm not at all averse to that, but it can be confusing to clients if they're going to many studios. And with the advent of, Class Pass and then Gym Pass for corporate members, you are seeing more folks who are just literally trying different classes and different studios and different teachers and different workout formats. It's funny because, even myself, I teach, reformer semi-private classes. I teach tower semi-private classes. I teach mat, and mat with props, semi-private, which are obviously classes. So they're bigger than your traditional 2 to 3 person semi-private. But when people ask me, what is the best form of Pilates for me, and I'm like, basically like, do it all. Do it all. And frankly, if you just ever decide you want to teach Pilates or you're doing Pilates for your own body, it's really useful to explore the other pieces of equipment and ways of putting things together that you might get in a private session that you're not going to get in a semi-private or a class. So just things to, think about when you're in your workout and you're wondering, like, what exactly am I doing here? If you are on any piece of equipment that isn't called the reformer or the Cadillac or tower, then, or even a spring wall, which is totally appropriate, then you are probably on a megaformer or some altered, changed piece of Pilates apparatus that is not going to behave the way a traditional reformer does. If you're on a reformer that has more than 4 springs, has different weight springs, has, ropes and adjustable risers and adjustable strap lengths and all of these things, then I can guarantee you that is not a classical Pilates reformer. It doesn't mean people can't teach classical Pilates on it, but just know that when you're on the old school apparatus, it feels very different. And I have a few episodes, over the past year and a half that will take you right into what that is and what the differences are and how different things feel. I think it's important to reframe how we think about our exercise. Okay. And I've been thinking a lot about this because I'm seeing online where people are like, can't we just add HIIT, i.e. high intensity interval training, to a Pilates workout? Can't we add heavy weights and heavy work to a Pilates workout? Can't we do all of this in our Pilates workout? And my answer to you is absolutely not. Okay. Now, do I do HIIT workouts? Yeah, I do, but not in my Pilates class. Do I do heavyweight training? Yes, I do, but that's not my Pilates work. Okay. My Pilates work is different. My Pilates work is full body work. My Pilates work centers me. My Pilates work works as much on my strength as it does on my flexibility. Okay. My Pilates work is more focused. My Pilates work is not as fast. Okay. And my Pilates work I do for a different reason. I do it to make sure that all the muscles in my torso are strong, front and back and sides, inside and outside. I do it to make sure my posture is good, that I can move my ribs when I'm breathing, that my pelvic floor and my glutes stay strong because, I've had a hysterectomy. I have a history of pelvic floor issues. I do the heavy weight training to make sure that my bones stay strong and dense. And because I like it, frankly, I do Pilates and I do probably a pretty strength focused Pilates practice with, of course, alignment and flexibility work, that's built into Pilates. And I do that to basically keep my shit together. All right. It just literally pulls me together from the inside and keeps me able to move through my joints in a way that with the amount of arthritis I have, I really shouldn't be able to do, but I can because I do the work. I do the high intensity interval training because it's the only way I will do cardio. You heard it. I fucking hate cardio. Hate it. Always have. Always will. Running, hate it. Bike, hate it. Rowing, hate it. Swimming. I like swimming. I like swimming in the actual ocean, like when we lived in Turks and Caicos. Otherwise, I don't really love it. I tend to get ear infections, so hate it. Um, but I can do 20 to 30 minutes of high intensity interval training. And I can get through that, and I can do that twice a week. So literally, guys, in my personal workout practice, I'm doing a tiny bit of Pilates on a daily basis because I have my little set of things that I do on the mat and with the magic circle that just keeps me together every day. Most of that is mat based. But I am in a Pilates studio 3 to 4 times a week. And so I will do a half an hour of Pilates on the apparatus, depending on, what I feel I'm needing or need to work on a specific day. I do weight training, heavy weight training, 3 days a week. And I do dedicated HIIT cardio workouts twice a week. And that's it. So I do something every day. But again, the daily constant thing is always Pilates. 3 days a week, I'm also doing half an hour of heavy strength training. 2 days a week, I'm doing half an hour of high intensity interval training. A combination of kind of pure cardio work and also strength building cardio. And that's all I do. And that keeps me together. It keeps my heart functioning, keeps my lungs functioning, keeps everything flowing, keeps my muscles and my bones strong, keeps me functionally strong, and also keeps me aligned, pulls my powerhouse together. And basically, the Pilates allows me to do every other thing that I do without hurting myself, in a stronger way, feeling better, understanding the mechanics. And this is what you should be expecting from a Pilates workout. So if you're supposedly doing Pilates, but you're just getting a lot of cardio or just a lot of stretching, or people are handing you heavier weights or insisting that you work heavier springs for like your hundreds or, arm spring work, you need to take a look at what it is that they're asking you to do, because if you're doing stuff like that, that is not Pilates. Again, it could be a great workout. You could do it in a very aligned fashion. A Pilates teacher could be teaching that work to you, but that doesn't make it Pilates. So last week and this week, I had a woman come to my class who I really, really like. Like, did you ever have, ever meet clients or other people in classes or other Pilates teachers who like you might want to hang out with, right? And this is somebody who, like, in the world, if I met her, I'd want to hang out with her. And she came in for the first class and simply said, I get some pretty bad neck and shoulder tension. Now, I did not hyper specialize the class for her. I had 6 people. So I taught generally a good foundational beginning to intermediate mat class. We did a few fundamentals just so people could feel their center and their core and where they were on the mat. And then we went right into, the 100 and the roll up. I mean, the whole situation. She did the entire ab series. We worked on rolling. Her back's a little tight. She kind of stands up from the back of her rib cage and her middle back. Instead of allowing her lower back to curve forward, it makes her very tight in the hip flexors, usual shit. So I think she did extraordinarily well. She was not afraid to try things, even if they didn't always work. Because even in a beginning class, if I see people are pretty strong and are kind of having fun, I might throw in a few intermediate moves just to show them where it goes and to show them, that we're doing this because it's going to build up to you being able to do that. And after class, she was like, that was okay. I felt okay. I think I might try this again. And then she walked into class yesterday and said, and I looked at her and said, oh, you came back. Awesome. And she said, I woke up the next day without the tension headache, which hasn't happened in a decade. And yes, I'm back. Now, here's the thing. You may be sitting there going, I can't go to a class because I've got all of this neck and shoulder stuff. And if you can afford to do privates, do it. Do it. That's really the best way. But if you want to do classes, then you have to make sure when you go into those classes that you are working with teachers who are experienced and that you're working with teachers who actually know Pilates, okay? Who didn't just take a weekend workshop online. If you're listening to this and you're a Pilates client, I want you to know that there are fully online certifications in the world right now. We're talking fully online for all of the equipment. Yeah, think about that. Fully online for all of the equipment. So you're talking about teachers who are teaching people on pieces of equipment where springs can slip, feet can slip, bars can fall, things can happen. And they are certified teachers, but have done all of their learning online. And I'm a big fan of online. You guys know this. I teach online every fucking day. Okay. But you can't do your teacher training online. You have to look at actual bodies and you have to be in studios watching other teachers like myself work with those bodies. You have to be going to the classes where you see the woman come in who has the neck and shoulder stuff, see what she does in class, if we have fun, what exercises work and what don't, and then watch her come back the next week because suddenly her headaches were better and her neck and shoulder tension wasn't as bad. Even though she still did the 100 with her head up. Just throwing that out there. Okay? Even though she still did all of the work. But that's why she felt better. Because it's not just about relaxing. It's not just about de-stressing. It's not just about stretching. It's also about strengthening, about length, about feeling where your parts are. And Pilates does that. The other thing that this new client said was great was that even though the second class that she took from me that I taught last night was relevantly similar, it was not exactly the same. Okay. Last night, I only had 4 people. It was a smaller group. There were people with some, significant imbalances and tightness and things. So I went a tiny bit slower, was a teeny bit more alignment oriented because these guys really needed that kind of work. But she still did some of the same exercises. In fact, a lot of the same exercises as week 1 and was able to see improvement. This is what you got to understand. If you're really doing Pilates or you're really teaching Pilates, your clients will improve and they will notice the improvement quickly. So in the same class, I have another woman who I remember her first class, she could not sit up with her legs straight and her spine lifted. She was super tight. She has been coming back week after week. It's probably been about 3 months now, and she can sit up. She can literally come into, spine stretch with her legs straight and lift up her spine and her lower back. It's awesome. Okay. The woman with the neck pain and the headache who came in for her second class last night noticed already that some of the exercises were a little bit easier for her, were just a little bit less hateful. and and she felt really good about that. And again, noticed a difference not just in how she felt, but in how her body responded to doing some of the same exercises. And people like that. So, if you're going into your classes and you're doing as a client different exercises all the time in different orders all the time, that's not really Pilates, my friend. No, no, no. Pilates, you're doing similar work in similar orders. Because otherwise, how would you know if you were getting better at anything? It's not just about flailing around on the reformer or the mat for, 45 minutes. You could do that on your own at home. Okay. It's about doing the actual work, doing the exercises in their order, the way they're supposed to be done, and, modifying as needed and slowly working your way up. And if you are doing actual Pilates, you will see that. You will see improvement from the very beginning. You will be with teachers who acknowledge your issues, but still make you do the hard work that you need to do to feel and function better, who can explain to you the exercises and why they might make you feel and function better in the long run, even though they may suck while you're doing them. Okay. Who offer modifications and variations so that if you get stuck on something, there's another thing you could be doing. And who basically help nurture you and your relationship with the work, with the Pilates exercises, with the Pilates apparatus, if that's what you're using, and with your body. And if you're not finding that, if you're not feeling that, if you're not feeling the continuity, if you can't tell if you're getting stronger, if you're having like joint and elbow and back pain and neck pain, then you are probably not doing Pilates. You may be going to a Pilates studio. You may be going to something that says it's Pilates, but I can tell you right now, if you're doing good, old-fashioned, well-taught Pilates, you will have consistency, you will have good form and function, and you will start to feel better and see improvements, not just in the studio, but also doing things outside. That's the point of exercise. Okay. That is the point of exercise. And that's what it means to really be doing Pilates. Please, please, please get out of the mindset that you need to do all of your shit in one workout. Okay. You can do your HIIT separately from your heavy weight training, separately from your Pilates. My clients who have the most success with their bodies and how they're feeling and functioning, that's how they do it. That's what works for me. And for folks who are just kind of flailing around and doing the all-in-one workouts, you may feel better right after class due to endorphins, but a lot of folks are waking up then the next day feeling like crap. And that's not the point. That's not what I want for people. I want people to be feeling better and feel better for days after they do one of my workouts. So I hope that this was enlightening. I hope it was interesting. I hope it helps you kind of figure out what it is that you're doing and what you might like to do moving forward. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, reach out to me, DM me on all the social medias where I am Lynda Lippin or Lynda Lippin Pilates. You can also send me an email, lynda@lyndalippin.com. You can leave me voicemails and send messages off of the website at pilatesgoddess.com. And I think that's about it. As always, too, if you like the show, please, please, please leave a rating, at least a rating, which you can easily do on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Podpage, and on other services. But what would be great is if you would share the podcast with your friends to help people find the podcast and leave a written review, which also, frankly, helps people find the podcast. So have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the Pilates Goddess podcast. Music brought to you by Nerd Salad. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, especially if you liked it. And please like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks.